And here we go. Now we're gonna start working on the toms. So in the last video we did kick, snare, and all that good stuff. So tom time. That is a bit quiet. I'm sorry for that, but that's just the way it is. So turn it up a bit louder. Right now I'm just kind of messing around. See if there's any particularly nasty things I want to, dig out. Eventually I'm just gonna take out some of the mids again. Mids and toms I don't like very much. That's pretty much all there is to it to doing toms. Now you repeat this process for as many times as you have. As the tom gets bigger, the frequencies get lower. So the filters will get lower. You can pull out resonance even lower. But typically you're pretty safe digging out the mids at the 800 range ish and doing a high shelf in the upper range to bring some more air and attack into the tom. I will also use the SSL channel for this actually, sometimes. I might even use the SSL channel on every single tom individually, but this time I decided just to go with the parametric. Pretty much the same thing here, adding some air. Yeah, huge difference. Up to the next tom here. Toms are very simple, just like snare. Basically, filter the low end, take out the mids, bump the highs a little bit, and that's pretty much it. Yep, pretty quick. I am noticing here with these last two floor toms, I'm probably going to need to go back in and manually fade them a little bit better. As you can see here, I'm a bit annoyed with this resonance that's happening. And basically it boils down to I need to gate it better, which is what I'll do later. But I'll delete this EQ because doing the EQ would do nothing. I'd have to use a multiband actually. But again, it's just easier to manually fade it out. So get rid of that. And let's go on to the lowest floor tom. Yep, exactly the same process. Like I said, it's not the most exciting thing to watch with toms anyway. But that's pretty much it as far as EQ goes. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and listen to the tom bus. It is time to make it sound pretty with the SSL channel. I love this thing. Highly recommend it. I'll go ahead and do a filter again at 40. Cut off at 9K on top. And now time to make them bright. A little bit of extra at 125-ish. Add some thickness, some depth. So I did another cut at 800 again. But with the SSL adds a little bit of extra color, so it's not the exact same cut. But the main thing here that I did is that high frequency, the high shelf that I did. That's what really brings out the attack and helps the toms cut through the mix. That's why I love using this plugin for toms. I'm just adding a little bit of compression. And again, I will be going now for Transify. Same reason, make them sound like they're just being hit really hard by the drummer. Another cool thing about Transify that you're seeing me doing here actually is it's a multi-band transient designer. So I'm messing around with the sustain because again, I'm like, you know, maybe I don't have to go in and edit all these toms again. I'm trying to kind of cheat my way through it, but it's not going to work. That's why I'm talking right now, because I'm going to end up scrapping it all anyway, and then we'll just work on the attack instead. Yeah, still puts that around sustain. Waste of time. Clipping, as always. Clipping, like, it's pretty much a mainstay. I actually don't know how I mixed drums without clipping before I got this plugin. Same deal, just making the toms sit well with the snare and the kick kind of at the same level. Not really liking the kick so much right here, so I bring down the clipper a little bit. So time to start with the overheads. I always start with the actual overheads bus first. And I take out pretty much everything below 1,000 sometimes. You know, 800, even as low as 400. Depends. So right there, I was basically looking from where it stopped sounding boxy. Same thing here, trying to find where it sounds really boxy and trying to get rid of it. Here I'm accentuating, good lord, the highs a little bit of a high shelf boost. I'm gonna have to go into the individual cymbals and find some resonances later, but again, I like to work from the bus to the individual. Pretty obvious whistling frequencies going on here. These are very important to kill because they will serious ear fatigue. And you can see they happen kind of in octaves here. Huge difference, man. Game changer. So now the next thing, again, it's like my secret weapon, the SSL channel. And there's a preset that I use here. It's just the CLA overheads. And it works, man. Literally don't have to do anything else to it. So right now I'm just trying to gain perspective of what I'm doing with the drums overall with these unmixed guitars. The overheads cymbals are really low in the mix. I figure maybe I can try compressing them a little bit more, but ultimately it's not going to work. I'll just turn them up. Creating fake drum rooms can be a kind of a pain sometimes, but you have to do it. It's just one of those intangible things that if you don't do it, it just doesn't sound right. And again, CLA has some great presets here. And I don't care what you say about presets, but if there's a preset that works, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. And Room 1 typically does it for me. I will cut down on the compression here because this is ridiculous. Depends though, if it's really pumping. But typically rooms are used more as a blending thing. And right now you see me processing this fake room like I would a real room. You know, I'm taking out some of the low end, getting really boxy here. That was a bit of a narrow cut, I think. Yeah, much better. So I'm not really, you'll see here, I'm not really digging that because I want to control actually how much kick is going into this room. So that's one nice thing about samples. I'm gonna actually remove this send and I'm just gonna send all the parts of the kit individually. The kick drum just had too much of a room sound to it, so like real echoey, real bouncy. Didn't want that. Yeah, so you saw my little fail there, soloing the wrong channel. But now you can see I really have a lot more control. Like, okay, I can just, okay, not that much kick. Pull the kick back. Let's only send this much kick. Now you're hearing that the drums are starting to sound much more full. Like they exist in a real space. So that's going to do it for this particular video. And the next one, we're going to go right along ahead, bring in some plate reverb, some actual reverb, talk about that parallel compression that a lot of you, I'm sure, are waiting for. And then we're going to continue right on with the ye olde bass. All right. So if you're enjoying this series and you think it's awesome and it's helping you, please consider a like and subscribing, and, hit that bell icon down there so you get an email notification when the next video comes up. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.